get those fish to try to get their attention. You can see it now that they found the bait. Now they're on it. Oh, he had it. What's up, guys? This is gonna be part one of an in-depth series about my rod, reel, line, and lure for certain techniques. In week one, we're gonna talk about jerkbait fishing and just my whole setup and when I like to use. So the World Diver and the World Minnow, these are gonna be baits that I pick up when the water temperature is below 65 degrees. And to me, these are ideally largemouth jerkbaits. I've caught a lot of really big largemouth on them. For whatever reason, it's more of a dulled, it's a delayed jerkbait. A lot of other jerkbaits are super responsive, just like the Zumverno that we have from Shimano. It's a super responsive jerkbait. It's really aggressive. This is not so much. This is going to be more of a, you don't want a whole lot of action. It's going to be more of a pull bait. It's going to be very similar to like old Smithwick Rogue. When there's really cold water, it really excels. So right now, I'm going to be leaning more towards the Zumverno, but as it gets cooler, I'm going to lean towards the World Minnow and the World Diver. So let's talk about Zumverno. Zumverno is a great little jerkbait. As you can tell, it is a lot smaller than the World Minnow. It's actually a 95 millimeter bait. It features a lot of the same technologies. It features the flash boost, the jet boost, scale boost, cool, awesome colors. But the main difference with this bait is that it is super erratic. When we did our filming for this bait, we did some underwater shots. It was hard to keep this bait in the frame because of how aggressive this bait will dart left to right. This is a great bait for spotted bass out here, Lake Martin, you know, Lake Lanier, any of those places where you really want to get those fish to chase a bait and fish it fast. This is a really good one. I pick this up all year long, especially in the fall when they're chasing smaller bait fish. It's a great jerkbait. So my setup for the World Minnow, World Diver, and the Zumverno are going to be the exact same. So as far as the line goes, I'm going to start with 12-pound fluorocarbon. If I'm fishing around any of these, your traditional jerkbait stuff, I'm going to start with 12. I'm either going to go lighter or heavier depending on the cover, so, or the depth of the water I'm trying to achieve. So if I want to get it lighter, I might throw it on 10-pound or 8-pound. In the wintertime, try to get it a little bit deeper. But day in and day out, I'm probably going to stick to that 12-pound line. If I'm fishing around hydrilla or milfoil or eelgrass, that's when I'll bump it up to a 14 or 16. There's certain times in early spring where I'll put it on 20-pound, where I want that bait to only dive maybe a foot or so, 2 foot max. And that's like early pre-spawn fishing ditches with like lily pads, stuff like that. Non-traditional jerkbait places. But day in, day out, I'm going to go 12-pound to 14-pound Mastiff fluorocarbon is for my line. For my rod, I'm going to use a Shimano X Pride. This is the 610 medium. I like that medium action because it's super responsive. It has the right action to work the bait, to get those fish. So when you snap the rod tip, the rod immediately throws slack back up in your line and it causes the bait to roll. And that's really essential, especially jerkbait fishing, especially with that flash boost. It shines that light at the fish and it can really generate a lot of extra strikes. As far as reels go, I like the Shimano Metanium. This is the HG. This is a 7-1 gear ratio. It just seems like that 7-1 is fast enough to pick up line when one eats it on a pause, but you're not overworking the bait. I like the Metaniums just because they're super lightweight. They hold nicely in my hand. They feel very nice on these X Prides. And just they're all around great reels and they cast really well, especially with a bait like this. So let's talk about treble hooks with jerkbaits. I use 2 different treble hooks. I use the Ryugi Pierce and I use the Ryugi Dagger. So the Pierce is going to be just my everyday treble hook. It's what I'm using when I'm warmer water, when I want to fish the bait really fast. Whenever the water's super cold, that's when I go with the Pierce. The Pierce is just a super light wire hook. If you guys are familiar with Megabass, they have some super light wire hooks. The Pierce are very similar to that, but they're a lot stronger. And that's what I replace my hooks to whenever the water is super cold and I want to let the bait sit a long time and all the fish has to do is suck the bait in. I think those sharp hooks are really essential, especially cold water fishing. So Ryugi Pierce, Ryugi Dagger,